Hello, and welcome back to the On the Real with Andrew podcast, where me and my revolving group of friends discuss any and everything in the world of film and TV. I'm your host, Andrew Washington, and joining me again today for the second time, welcome back, Jack Mayer. Hello.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be back on the reel.
Yes, so glad to have you back. I usually start episodes with asking my guests, like, what have you been watching? But I know what you've been watching because we've been watching the same things.
We've been watching a lot of it together.
We've been watching a lot of it together. And there are actually two of the things that we have talked so much about, but funnily enough, did not see together. I want to kind of focus on before our main topic today, which if you've already started listening to the episode, you know why you clicked on this, so we don't even but I let's say I couldn't be happier to have you on. And thank goodness for that. But
I don't know. Will we be committing any good deeds on this podcast?
Probably not.
We're just two girls in our bubble.
Right. Yeah, no. And there's no place like home. For good. Did we get all of them?
March of the Witch Hunter is the only one that we missed, but there's no easy way to work that into conversation.
Yeah. And as long as you're my guest,
there you
go. We'll have a good time. But ate that. Firstly's not a word, but you get me. Like I said, there are two movies that we didn't see together that I want to chat with you about. One that I know that we both enjoyed, and one that I know that you did not. Let's start with the good, though. Can you explain to the audience your relationship with the Now You See Me franchise? Can you go first, and then I'll go after?
Andrew, I'm so glad you described it as a relationship. Because that's really what it is. So
it is.
In 2013, the world was introduced to the Four Horsemen: J. Daniel Atlas, Merritt McKinney, Henley Reeves, and Jack Wilder.
Yes.
An original action adventure heist franchise known as the Now You See Me movies.
Yes.
Directed by Louis Leterrier, I believe is how you pronounce his last name, of The Incredible Hulk and Fast X fame.
Yes.
Two load-bearing movies in cinema, if you ask me.
Yes.
Now You See Me, the franchise, is maybe my favorite film franchise ever. I think they are some of the most incredibly entertaining dumb movies ever.
Yeah.
I've seen the first one.
And that's such a compliment.
Absolutely. When I say that they are dumb, I do not mean that I have a bad time watching them or I think they're incompetently made. Yeah. I just mean that they are so silly and over the top and fun that I can't help but love them. I love everything about them. I think the magic is so much fun. I love the way that it's sort of a reverse heist movie, and that the heist happens and then they explain it, as opposed to them explaining it and then the heist happening.
Yeah.
It's so effective. Everybody is clearly having the time of their lives. I love hearing the cast be like, I hate making other movies, but I love making this.
No, literally, Jesse Eisenberg, he'll be like, these are the only fun movies that I get to make.
But it's been a really long time since we've gotten a Now You See Me movie. It's been since when the director we're probably going to talk a lot about in this episode, Jon M.
Yes.
Directed Now You See Me 2 in 2016. It's great. It's great meta casting of Daniel Radcliffe as a bad magician.
Right.
But exactly. Now we have Now You See Me, Now You Don't, which is odd that this one's being called that and not Now You See Me 3 or something else.
But no, so my relationship, or at least being exposed to Now You See Me the first time, I remember it literally like it was yesterday. I was visiting my grandma's because it was a summer release, right?
It was June. Yeah, it was June or July.
Yeah, around there. And I was visiting my grandma, me and all my siblings, and my sister, who's like 6 years older than me, took me and my brother to the movies because we wanted to see Now You See Me. And we got there a little late. Like it was after the previews ended and it was a little bit into the opening of the movie.
Jesse
And
Eisenberg was flipping the cards.
well, no. So let me tell you the image that I walked in on. I walked in on a pool of blood overflowing into an audience of people at how old was I? 9 at 9 years old in a PG-13 movie. And I was like, what in the and then like whips around and Henley is like, whoever thought of this is a sick sadist. Also the first time I ever heard the word sadist. And I was locked in. And I remember like the movie ending and I was like, oh my God, that was so cool. What happened in the beginning? I don't remember seeing it a second time in theaters, but I collect DVDs and I've been collecting DVDs like my entire life. And so when that movie came out on DVD, that's really when I became the Now You See Me head that I am, because it was the extended edition. I remember it, but I used to watch that movie on the right. My sister's school was across town, with traffic probably close to an hour away, and I used to go with my mom to go pick her up after school, and I would watch that movie on my portable DVD player in the car going to pick up my sister from school, like all the time.
It's a real load-bearing movie, I think.
I have seen that first movie so many times. I genuinely think it's so entertaining. It's so much fun. It's one of my favorite movies. The second movie I do think is a lot of fun, but I am of the mind that I think it primarily works if you are a fan of the first one.
I think, yes, if you're not on board with Now You See Me as a concept,
yeah,
none of them are going to do you any favors. Neither is this new one. But
right.
if you love the Now You See Me movies, if you're a horseman for life,
yeah. No. If you're a horseman for life, then you're here. And now we're at Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Which is another very fun experience. I do think it's stronger than the second one also.
I think it might be the best of the franchise. I really do.
Really? Explain that.
In terms of, I think Ruben Fleischer is a great director to bring into this. You know, he's already worked with Jesse Eisenberg and Woody Harrelson. He's got an eye for action that I feel like the other two directors don't quite have at his level. I think that it's sleeker. The shot composition is more interesting. It takes more risks, and I think the new cast honestly brings a really fun, fresh element to it. Dominic Sessa, Justice Smith, Ariana Greenblatt, all three phenomenal in this movie. The villain is really strong. I love Rosamund Pike doing like a silly accent.
Oh my God, that South African accent!
It's
I was just
so
like,
funny.
She's just. I could tell that she was going for a genuine South African accent, but anytime I just hear evil South African, I'm just like, Elon.
Yeah.
I'm like, Elon. I'm like, oh my God, it's Elon.
Like, it's a movie that like begs you to chew on the scenery, and I think everybody rises to that occasion and meets it perfectly. Like, yeah. I think the thing that like sold me on like, oh, this is gonna be great was in the opening with Dominic Sessa, where he's. Are we spoiling on this podcast?
We are, yes.
Okay, so spoilers for Now You See Me, Now You Don't.
Now You See Me, Now You Don't. And spoilers for everything that we'll be talking about, but we'll remind as we go on. Anyway, continue.
So in the opening trick where all of the horsemen go inside of Dominic Sessa, quote unquote, and he starts doing impersonations of them. The second he starts his Jesse Eisenberg impression, I was like, oh, this is exactly what I have needed from a movie like this. This is exactly what I needed in cinema for years at this point.
Jesse Eisenberg impressions.
Specifically by Dominic Sessa.
Yes,
is Bosco Leroy, if you will.
Bosco Leroy. The names. Is this his first big project since The Holdovers? Am I tripping? No.
No, I think he's had a couple small things since then, but I think this is
Okay.
the first big thing he's had.
Okay. All right. Yeah. 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 Continue.
Uh, just again, I thought that it was great. I think this is maybe the most accessible of the three in terms
Yeah.
of like if you just want a sort of like slick action movie, you get it.
Mm,
But if you're
yeah.
there for the reasons why we went, you are gonna get so much out of this movie.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I I
No.
was so happy the entire time. I just had a giant smile just plastered onto my face.
Yeah, yeah, no, I would agree. I was so happy watching this movie. I went very late at night. I had so much fun. I was like clapping when when Lula showed up. I remember I was like ah. I just everybody that came back. Only thing that would okay, I did think it was a bit stupid how they explained away Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah,
Because they were like, what did they say?
it's our one trick that's gone wrong, and Dylan
Yeah,
ended up in Russian prison.
right. And it's like that seems like not something that you'd skip over, but it just felt
Mhm.
so like okay. But no, so outside of I just I was just gagging at everything. I was like, oh my god, this is my family. I'm so back. I feel like I have
It
to
was like getting a family reunion. Like it really
like
was.
oh my god, like oh my, especially Henley coming back. Like
Mhm.
I oh my god, y'all don't understand. Like I was explaining to one of my friends that had seen the first one, but like had only seen the first one, and just like it wasn't a formative movie, and I was like, you have no idea how big of a deal it is that Isla's back. Like
Mhm.
I was like Henley has been sorely missed. I was like, oh my god, I was so happy. I was so happy the entire time.
It
I
was
think I have
great.
to I think I have to see it again to have like a real critical analysis of it, just because I was so enraptured, and I've never like been so awake at a movie that started at 11:45. Like
I think that the like actual critical lens that I take to these movies is how much did I enjoy watching the silly little magic tricks.
right.
and,
Right. I
and
mean, cuz honestly, magicians in movies do it for me.
yeah, it really
I'm
works.
pretty easy when it comes to magic in
That
movies.
one unbroken take when they're all in the room just like playing around with
Yeah.
the cards and the diamond. Ugh. Like that was peak Now You See Me. That
No,
was exactly
genuinely.
what I like came to the theater to see.
One thing that I do love about the first one is just the this is gonna sound weird, but the cop part of it. Like I do love the fact that they're involved like with the FBI and like all
Mhm.
that. It just made it very kinetic. The second and third ones, they've gotten bigger since then, and the illusions have gotten more like, they're just more extravagant.
Uh
But the first one was just was a lot more grounded, and I do think that was what like made that one work so well for me. My point is though, this one strangely feels closer to that one
it
than
feels much
the
closer to
second one.
one than two. And like I said, this one felt like the culmination of what Now You See Me should be,
Yeah.
and like what a franchise like this should look like coming back to a sequel about 10 years later. Like,
Yeah.
because we have movies that get like these legacy
Legacy
sequels
sequels, yeah, whatever
like
they call it, yeah.
years later, but they don't always work, and this one works because it keeps in the spirit of the first movie.
Yeah, it does. It's still fun. It's still fun. I think I read that of there a fourth one is like in the works
Well, it
now.
did well at the box office, yeah.
Yeah. So a rousing recommendation, I think, from both of us for Now
Absolutely.
You See Me, Now You Don't. Um, if you just want to have fun, just have a fun time at the movies.
Mhm.
I'm like, honestly, even if you haven't seen the other two, um, you'd enjoy it. Like, okay, so the other movie that I want to talk about is the other movie that came out the same weekend, The Running Man, Edgar Wright's new re-adaptation of the Stephen King novel or short story.
Novel.
Novel. I'm not very familiar with the novel or the Schwarzenegger version. I know that that one is not very well regarded, but I've always been kind of familiar with the story of like, this guy is kind of being hunted by everybody and he has to like, stay alive. But this is his new version with Glenn Powell. And it's effectively the same story to my knowledge, but just a bit more tailored to today, even though it's still set in this dystopian future. I enjoyed this movie, but it's not a movie that stuck with me too much, as you can tell by my not so enthusiastic description of it. You hated this movie, am I correct?
I really did not like this one. And I was disappointed because I generally like Edgar Wright.
Yeah, I do too.
I thought Last Night in Soho and Baby Driver were not quite as strong as everything like Cornetto trilogy era.
I love Baby Driver, I have to say.
I know I'm in the minority on Baby Driver.
Regardless of take the Kevin Spacey out of it, but I do love Baby Driver.
Take the Kevin Spacey out of it, the Ansel Elgort out of it.
Yeah, that movie's looking kind of cursed, but it's a very fun movie. It's a very fun movie, and the experience of me seeing it the first time stuck a lot. I remember that.
There's a lot to admire about that movie, and I think that the editing in that movie is so slick and really good.
Yeah.
And that was, I thought, the biggest thing for me that didn't work about this. The editing of The Running Man didn't feel like it had the kinetic Edgar Wright pace that I expect from him.
Yeah, it definitely feels a bit slow in the middle, like a little over an hour.
Yeah.
Kind of in the heat of the game, quote unquote, like day kind of 1 through 17, 18, 19.
Because it kind of feels like it's repeating similar beats.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, it's Glenn Powell is on the run for a little bit and then goes and finds this person to hide out with.
Yeah.
And then he's on the run again and he finds this person to hide out with.
Yeah.
And then he's going to go see Coda. And then.
Yeah. Yeah. It literally. Yeah. It does that like 4 or 5 times. I think when he. Spoiler alert for The Running Man. I said we'd remind. When he meets the white girl in the Tesla.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a Tesla, but. That's why you said Coda. I was laughing because I was like, that's a funny thing to say, but I was like, maybe it's just something I forgot about it.
No, and like honestly,
but no,
shout out to Amelia Jones because she's great in everything.
No, yeah, I mean, she's great in Coda.
She's great in Coda. She's great in this. She's great on Task. If you haven't, I haven't
seen Task, but I'm familiar.
She's so good on Task.
Okay, I'll put it on my list. That's the Mark Ruffalo show, right? Yeah. Okay. But no, yeah, but so I especially remember when we got there. Have you been seeing on Twitter? People have been, when they tweet about this movie, they've been using the GIF from the studio. It's like 2 hours and 45 minutes. That's low-key how I felt when he got to her, because I was like, oh. I was like, another fucking checkpoint in this hero's journey. Like, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Like, we get it. Jesus Christ. He's met enough, like, trolls on the way. Like, let him go. Like, but
I also think that part of what I didn't love about this movie is that I have such an affinity for reality television. And I hate to see my baby slandered.
Oh my God. I have to say, I think that's something that worked for me as far as like, I'm always a sucker for, commenting on the entertainment industry, particularly the television industry.
But even the commentary that this movie was doing, I feel like I've seen done so much better in other movies. Like Hunger Games does this commentary 1,000 times better, I think.
That is true. It is a very Hunger Games feel of a movie.
Like, and this one, even though it's rated R, it felt very YA core.
It felt like it could have been PG-13 if there wasn't the blood. But no, I also, in what I was saying before about like that being a part of it, like I think because Coleman Domingo is so involved in that aspect of the story,
so good.
I think that's why I responded a lot better to those parts of the story.
Coleman was great, and I thought Brolin was great. Brolin's playing like Jeff Probst, but like post-COVID era Jeff Probst, when he's just like adding new twists to the game.
Oh my God. Also, he's great in Knives Out.
He is great.
Yeah, he's great in Knives Out. Yeah, and I think he's strong in this movie too. He's had a good year
Yeah.
honestly. But I think the pacing is mostly what hurt the movie for me. The reaction to this movie before it came out interested me a lot because it was like Edgar Wright, I feel like, is usually well liked.
Mm-hmm.
And is usually pretty popular. Like most of his movies, I can't really point to one that was like bad. I mean, not bad, but like,
Last Night in Soho got
like,
sort of mixed.
Last Night in Soho was more mixed, but I still feel like it kind of leaned more positive. What was interesting about this movie was there were a lot of people that from the jump just did not like this movie. I think might be his worst reviewed movie.
Probably.
Because the Metascore I know is yellow. It's like in the 50s. It's got a fresh tomato, but I don't know if it's certified fresh. It might just be the regular one. I say that to say I was more keen on reading about it and reading reviews before. I usually try not to at least read like, reviews from critics and journalists. Like I'll scroll on Letterboxd. I usually try not to like read like official reviews before or watch on YouTube before, but this time I did. And one that I looked at had said that the first half of the film was a lot more entertaining than the second half, and the second half was like a slog, and it was very message heavy, and like the message isn't bad, but it's just like hitting you in the face and da 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 da. I didn't really lock in on this movie until the second half when Michael Cera shows up. That I think was the bright spot.
It was good to see Michael Cera in an Edgar Wright movie again.
Say. I also was just waiting for him to show up. Like that was a lot of it. It was because I was like, "Where's Michael Cera?"
And I liked seeing Martin Herlihy from Please Don't Destroy have a little bit part too.
Oh my god, yeah. But no, I did enjoy myself more in the later parts of the story. Like I said, kind of after we get out of a lot of the game, like him running and more into Act 3. That just felt more interesting to me because more was happening. It wasn't kind of the same thing happening over and over.
When again. The Real People's Magazine Sexiest Man Alive Lee Pace shows up.
Right, exactly. So yeah, but like that kind of whole section of the story, save for when Coda shows up, because that, and then it was just like, why is this white lady like attaching herself to? She's like, I have to make myself. I have to redeem myself. Like, girl, what? Like, go home. You're rich. Like, oh my god,
it's fine for you.
Like, Jesus Christ, like you, like, go home. He's not worried about you. Everything on the plane I thought was fun, and I was kind of indifferent on the ending. It just felt like I was like, this is an ending that works for the story. I was like, it's not like a spectacular ending.
It worked for the story, but it also felt like it was wrapping stuff up a little too neatly, like with the socks and everything. It's like, oh, but he gets to reunite with his wife. Isn't that so nice? Isn't it nice? Isn't he such a good guy? He gets to be with his wife again.
I do agree with that, but like I said, I was just kind of more indifferent on the ending. Like that wasn't kind of what stuck with me. I was a lot more entertained by kind of the second half of Act 2 and like the third act. Then
listen, I'm not going to say that I had no fun watching this movie. I just
when he was in the towel, I shout out to that towel.
Liked that a lot.
Yeah, no, that was a fun time. But it's not a movie that I'd, shout from the rooftops, like, go see the Running
Run
Man.
to the theater.
Right, yeah. Like, you can walk, you can,
You can walk, you can
take a stroll.
You can walk to your couch and wait for it on screen.
I do like Edgar Wright. I do too. And I think, I do think that even though it's not as kinetic and energetic as his other films, it still felt like he was in there. And I do think another reason why I had fun with it is because of that. But, I'm not like a Glenn Powell super fan. I am a fan of Coma Domingo, so that was, kind of a part of it. But I kind of came to this movie to watch an Edgar Wright movie. And so I was like, this is an Edgar Wright movie, but it is not. It's not like it's not the other Edgar Wright movies. Movie. Yeah, I'm like Ant-Man felt more like an Edgar Wright movie.
It's a movie that it is a movie that Edgar Wright directed rather than an Edgar Wright movie.
Yeah. And I'm interested to read and look more into his reasoning as to why he felt the need to make this movie. If it's been like a passion thing that he's been wanting to do for a while, or if it's just like
I think
They were
he has
somebody was
said
trying
he's
to
wanted
make.
to do a Running Man for a while.
Okay, all right. That makes a little bit more sense. But yeah, no, it was good. It was fine. It was, I think I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. Enjoyed it. It was fine. Go see it if you want to. You were way softer on
Yep,
it.
I did not care for it. Not my kind of movie, and that's fine.
Yeah,
Like
it happens.
I acknowledge that I can have this sort of taste sometimes.
But now we need to get into Wicked for Good.
Yes, we
Uh
do.
we talked a little bit about, because you were on the year end podcast, we
Yes.
discussed the
So,
first movie.
in case you forgot, uh, the first Wicked movie was my number one worst movie of last year. I
Yes,
put
it
it at
was.
number one worst.
Yes, it was.
I gave the majority of my reasonings for that then.
Yeah.
Uh,
They still stand true?
I rewatched the first movie in preparation for Wicked for Good.
Yeah.
Uh, I watched it over the course of 4 hours because I had to take breaks. I find it to be a very poor adaptation of a very great act one of a musical. I think the first
Mhm.
act of Wicked is so great. I love, love, love Wicked. I need to make this super clear. I adore the musical Wicked.
Right.
It was my gateway drug to musicals. It was my gateway drug to like writing, kind of.
Mhm. Mm.
The world of entertainment opened its huge doors to me because of the original cast album of Wicked. I have
Very
such
well.
fondness for this music.
You and many other gays.
Like it is a very important foundational piece of Jack Mayer.
Yes. That being said.
That said, I did not like the first Wicked.
Yes.
I found the direction and cinematography to be piss poor.
Mhm.
The orchestrations were really strange, like the actual
Mhm.
like composition of the songs.
Mhm.
Editing dreadful, pace of musical numbers really bad. Every single I like the dancing through life sequence in the movie is I think 25 minutes.
Yeah, it's long. Yeah, it's long.
And boy does it feel that way. Uh yeah, there's a lot but I don't want to talk about the first one too much
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's
yeah,
not what we're
yeah.
here to discuss. But
Yeah.
you should just know that like going into Wicked for Good, I did not like the first movie. But I was open and willing to giving Wicked for Good a chance because Act 2 is generally the weaker part of the musical. That's agreed upon by like the majority of the theater community. Act 2 of Wicked is certainly not as strong as Act 1.
Mhm.
And I knew that this being a part 2, Act 2 being generally shorter than Act 1 in the musical,
Mhm.
they were probably going to have to add a decent amount of stuff in order to bulk up the runtime, in order to maybe fix some sort of plot things.
Mhm.
There was definitely going to be changes and additions made. So I was going into Wicked for Good with the idea that like there is going to be some new stuff in here, and I'm going
Mhm.
to accept and go into this with a completely open mind. First one, out of sight, out of mind.
Before we get too deeply into that, one, spoiler warning, but also just to briefly describe, in case you're not aware of what Wicked is, what Wicked for Good is. Wicked for Good is the second act in film form of the Broadway musical Wicked. It's set some years, I'm assuming, later.
Pretty soon after.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So much was different. Like so much had happened. I was assuming, I was like, oh, there's
I
been
think it's
like a
less.
significant amount
I
of
think it's
time,
less time than you think it is.
which is so, yeah, that feels odd. I was confused about the timeline, like as far as just when it was after, because it's like everybody's out of school. I'm like, I thought y'all were in school. Like, like what happened to this? Like now she's the governor now.
Mhm.
Like, and everybody
Well,
got jobs.
if you'll remember at the end of the first movie, there's a quick little cutaway during Defying Gravity,
Oh
just
no,
after.
I remember
Yeah,
that. I
where like the
remember
dad
him
just like
dying.
falls down.
Yeah, but then I'm like, how does that mean that Nessa gets pulled out of school to be the governor?
I guess
Like,
Munchkin Land is like a monarchy. I don't know.
maybe, I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, it's set sometime after. Some things are different. Elphaba is now officially the Wicked Witch of the West, and Glinda is Glinda the Good. And there's just tensions between them, and they gotta figure some shit out, and a bunch of other shit happens.
They really just gotta
Um,
scissor it out.
no, for real. But yeah, Madame Marble and the Wizard. I almost called him the Wiz. I
I wish.
Everybody's back. It's all the same people from last time. Some roles are bigger. This time we get more Bach. Um, a little bit less Fiero, I think, if I remember correctly, or if
Yeah,
I'm, or maybe about the same.
a little bit
Um,
less
A little bit
for
less,
sure.
yeah. And also we get a little bit less of Alphaba and Glinda. We like a little bit less of them together is what I
Mhm.
mean. Because obviously, the nature of the story, she's gone away and she is now being vilified by everybody in the
They
town.
do
And
add
so,
in scenes of Alphaba and Glinda together, though, in
okay, all
this.
right.
So,
I
like,
didn't know that.
yeah, so the whole scene before Wonderful,
Mhm.
where it's the two of them talking,
Mhm.
that's added for the movie. And
Okay.
then they added Glinda into Wonderful. Like, she's not in that song in the musical.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. That's more. I'll ask you more specifically about other changes. But okay, yeah, I am a fan of the first Wicked movie. If you've been listening to the podcast, there's an entire episode about Wicked. Um, so my entire in-depth thoughts are on that episode, but also on the last episode that J May was on. We discussed for a bit my opinions. I think that the first Wicked is a lot of fun. I do agree with some of your issues regarding the technical aspects of the movie, particularly the cinematography, some of the directing choices, and also some of the music bits that you were talking about. Some of the way that some of it's mixed, I think, is a bit odd. But at the end of the day, I have seen that movie 6 times. I don't have a prior or previous strong relationship with the musical. I was a fan of musicals growing up, but I wasn't a theater kid. I was theater kid adjacent. Like all my friends were and my brother was, but I never did it. But I always knew about Wicked, but just never kind of, sunk my teeth into it. So I'm kind of coming at it from almost a fresh perspective, even more so with this one than the first one, because I at least knew a couple of the songs from the first one. This one was almost like, except for kind of one of the big twists regarding the scarecrow and the Tin Man, or I guess two of the big twists, I was kind of unfamiliar with pretty much everything that was going to be happening with the story, music wise, story wise. The first one I didn't have like a prior relationship to. It wasn't like I'm a big fan of Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, but there wasn't a like, oh my God, I have to see Wicked. And so I was kind of surprised myself at how well I responded to it the first time I saw it, and then, the second time, and then up until like the sixth time that I have seen it. And I still listen to the music from the soundtrack of the first movie pretty regularly. A few of the songs are on my playlist. So yeah, I really like the first one. Um, and so that was what I was coming into this one with. It was like, okay, the first one, I was a fan. I had some issues, but and so I was like, I felt like, especially because the exact same team, they film at the same time. I was like, I feel like as my issues are probably going to remain consistent, but in that same vein, I was like, the reasons why I like it, hopefully, will stay consistent as well. And that wasn't necessarily the case. I still liked this movie, but I do think it is weaker.
Mhm.
You said a little bit ago that the second act of the musical is generally agreed upon as being the weaker part of the story. And I, even though, like you said, this version does have some changes and is different, I feel
Mhm.
like I can see that like 100%.
And even though it does have some changes, it still generally follows the plot of the second act.
I'm sure. I'm sure they didn't like,
Like, in
like
terms of like the structure, the resolution, the only thing that's really different is that we've added stuff into the plot to
Mhm.
stretch it out rather than actually changing plot elements that might not necessarily have worked.
And two new songs as well, which we'll talk about very soon. But yeah, so I just felt that it was a lot more, in a weird way, rushed, because there was so much shit happening in such a what seemingly is a small amount of time. Which another thing is like the timeline of this story. I'm like, of regardless of how much time there was between the first act and second act, like the timeline of the story was just very confusing. Like I didn't know if it was like
Mhm.
2 days or like over like some, like I
Mhm.
because also I am, and we were talking about this when we saw it. My experience with the Wizard of Oz story primarily comes from the
The
Wiz.
Wiz, yeah.
And so the Wiz is different than the Wizard of Oz. Like it is still, Dorothy and Toto and the gang and all that, but she's a bit older in the Wiz. Obviously they all look different. It's just a different kind of thing. And so I've seen the original Wizard of Oz, but I'm not so familiar with it to where like I could track where we were as far as like in that story. Because this one is so connected, and that was part of another reason why I wasn't that strong on it. It's so connected to the Wizard of Oz,
Mhm.
and I feel like there is a way to have this story exist outside of going so much into that. Because
Definitely.
it's like, I don't know, it just feels a bit coincidental that two of like the main characters in the Wicked story are also the
Yeah.
Scarecrow and the Tin Man.
Every
Like,
every everything about it trying to connect itself to the Wizard of Oz
yeah,
generally does not work.
yeah, like Dorothy showing up, I just thought felt a bit ridiculous. Like
And
I knew
also
that she
like
was going to, because she's, they show her in the trailer, not her face. Obviously, they never show her face in the movie.
which is
Um,
an interesting cuz I get why they chose not to show her face. I
mhm.
get it, but it felt sort of too winky at times of like, ah,
Yeah,
see, there she is.
there she,
There's
when
Dorothy.
her
Ah,
legs were
ah.
dangling, right? When the flying monkeys like got her and her legs were like
Yeah. Oh,
flying.
so stupid. Yeah, there is like one shot in this movie that's like POV or Dorothy being picked up
Right.
by the monkeys.
Which feels a bit ridiculous. And then like, whenever Elphaba is doing the, Wicked Witch of the West thing, like, oh, give me my sister's shoes. Like, it's like, but also, I I mean, just me personally, the way the story's set up, why was she doing all that shit for them damn shoes?
Mhm.
Like, first off, it's shoes. Secondly, your sister don't like you. And I know you like your sister,
I, but
but
not even
she hated
really.
you. Right. But I'm like, she hated you. I'm like, yeah, it's like that's what you have left of your sister. But it's like, girl, calm down.
Move on. Move
Like,
on.
move on. Like, it's genuinely not that serious, like for those damn shoes. Like, I mean, obviously, it's
And
the
your
Wizard of
sister
Oz and
kind of
all that.
sucks. Like,
Right. I'm like, if there's one thing that Wicked like as waking you up to, it's like, obviously that's the point of the story. But I'm like, it just is making me realize how dumb the Wizard of Oz is. Like, why was she giving a fuck about those damn shoes? Like, she hated her. Y'all did not like each other. Oh my god. What was all this shit for?
she
Let
didn't
her
want
take
you
the
at
damn
school with
shoes.
her. She didn't want you around in Munchkin Land.
No. Oh my god. She was terrible. Oh my
She's
god.
like controlling her boyfriend by making him stay in
She like
Munchkin Land.
she banned
Ugh.
all the animals, which is literally your entire like
Yeah.
point. I'm like, girl, give up the damn shoes.
Give up
Oh
the
my god.
shoes.
Like, Jesus Christ. It was starting to just awaken some things regarding that. But overall, yeah, I just felt like there was just too much going on. And
Mhm.
a big part of, I remember the conversations around the first one was how long it was. I wasn't that mad at the length of the first one. I do think it is over long, but I felt like it needed that much, not that much time, but it needed almost that much time to get through that much story.
I think what this movie proved to me was that they could have made Wicked 1 3-hour movie. I think we could have done 2 hours of the first act and an hour of the second. The Into the Woods movie did something sort of similar, where like the first act is more of the story, and
Mm.
then the second act is like the last third instead of the last half.
Because honestly, another big part of why I like the first movie, and I mentioned it earlier that there's less Glinda and Alphaba. I think that the relationship between the two of them, um, even like the way that it arcs in the first one, is what makes the story work and what makes that movie work so well. And because their performances are so good and they have such good chemistry together, I think that is really what makes it so strong. And so because this one has a lot less of that, it just makes it not work as much. But what I think works, what also, I mean, in saying that the first one, it's a lot more centralized on on their relationship. And
Mhm.
then this one is like plot shit. It's like
Yes.
it's just
It
plot, 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 plot,
it's
plot, plot, plot.
if you like Elphaba and you like Glinda, this is fine. But if you like Elphaba and Glinda together,
Yeah.
you're not going to get that much in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And so in that, when you say it could be 1 2 hour movie with more of the first act and then just kind of, shrinking the
Like
second act, I do think that can work if
I'm
they.
even fine with it being longer. I'm fine with the 3 hour. I'll sit through a 3 hour movie. I don't care. Just like
No, yeah, but if they kind of thinned this part of the story down to just like Glinda and Alphaba's relationship and arc, I do think that can really work, and I think that would make it ultimately stronger because it would
mhm.
take out all the random Wizard of Oz shit, and that honestly is so much of the movie. Like a lot of the story beats are like kind of setting up and then eventually knocking down like Easter eggs and plants and shit for the Wizard of Oz stuff.
When we
Like,
get to the first original song in the movie, we
mhm.
meet the Cowardly Lion really
Yeah.
for the first time.
Yeah. And it's maybe track 3. Like it's like the third song. Like it's fairly early on. And
Mhm.
so from that point on, genuinely, that's really when it feels like fan fiction.
Yes.
Like, because obviously like Wicked as a whole is fan fiction, but like it really just feels like, you know, like just Easter eggs just to put Easter eggs in there. And
Should
it
we
doesn't
talk
really
about
feel like it's
the
needed.
should we talk about the two original songs? Because
Let's talk about the songs.
I have a take on the two new ones, but I want to hear
Yeah.
your take on the songs in general first.
The songs in general. Yeah, okay, yeah, because I said I was less familiar with the second act. I mean, I do think that the music in the first act is stronger. I do agree with that. On the whole, I did like the music in the second act. I think um the songs are a lot shorter. There's a lot more reprise with the verb. Reprise is the noun and then reprise is the verb.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're
To reprise. Yes.
yeah, so they're reprises.
Yes, there are
They are
more
reprises. There are,
yes,
but
there are
anyway, there
more
are there are more like, they're just singing some of the same shit from last time.
yes,
And a
the
lot of the songs are shorter this time.
this movie does not actually open with "Thank Goodness" the way that the musical does. It opens with a musical montage of "Here's What You Missed on Glee."
Ariana's songs, the songs that she was singing in this movie, I thought were pretty much all good. I liked pretty much every song that Glinda was on in this movie.
Her "Thank
Um,
Goodness" is great.
yeah,
Ariana's like version rendition of "Thank
yeah.
Goodness" is
I honestly sat up
so
a little
good.
bit, because there's a chunk of it that's sung a cappella, um, that is just gorgeous. And so I was like, oh, maybe I'm gonna, because and that was, it was in the first 10 minutes, and so I was like, oh, maybe this is gonna be what it is. And then when we get to the first original song, there's no place like home, which is Alphaba's song. um I wasn't I wasn't too hot on it. It felt very different from the rest of the music. I liked it at first because it starts out very slow, also kind of acapella or almost acapella, and then the music comes in after about probably a minute. And that first minute I was like, oh, this is really beautiful. Like the scene was odd.
Well, it's because it's so computery. Because she's just
Yeah.
talking to all the animals who are like hiding under the yellow brick road, like not being allowed to be like out from underground.
Yeah. And so the scene was odd, but when she started singing it, the song had a beauty to it that I'm enjoying this. And then when the music came in, it just gave it a completely different feel. And I don't know. I also just think the way that it was written just feels a bit more like rudimentary, at least than the other, especially like than the other original song.
Yeah. So can I say my take on, because I felt similarly about both original songs.
Okay.
Which is that I really like Stephen Schwartz as a composer and a lyricist. Like, he has written some of my favorite musicals. I think it's very clear that you can tell which songs were written by a composer in his 50s and which songs are written by a composer in his 70s. There is a certain pace to the songs. Again, the composition of the orchestration, the instruments that are being used, they just feel like, even if I didn't know Wicked that well going into this, I think I'd still be able to pick out both of those songs and be like, these feel different. These feel a little out of place. And then look them up and see, oh, they're the new songs. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I don't like that you can tell that.
I don't either.
I don't like that you can tell that. I think you can tell that the most, though, with Cynthia's song.
Definitely. You can tell it much more with Cynthia's song.
Yeah. It almost took me out of it. I was like, that's a little odd. I was like, that's a kind of a weird song. And because also they had been hyping up so much, they're like, oh, there's 2 new songs. And like they'd only been like teased. Like, I think they've only put out like, small like snippets. And so I was like, okay, we're going to hear them. And then I heard it and I was like, okay. But I do have to say, I did like Ariana's song. I think I've come around to it more for like what I can remember of it. Because again, it's still not out like to listen to. But in the time that I've had since the movies come out, I think I really do like that song. At least like her vocal performance in it, especially.
Yeah, well, she sounds great the entire movie, as does Cynthia.
Yeah, no, and she does. We haven't even touched on the performances yet, but as with the first one, I do think Ariana's the strongest performance and piece of this film. Her character is a lot larger, or it just feels larger this time, and so she has like a lot more to do. Her character is kind of the one that is the main arc that we focus on. I was honestly more surprised this time at her performance than in the first one. I think the first one was surprising because like we hadn't really seen her in a big movie for real. We knew that she used to act, but movie wise it just wasn't, she just didn't do movies. And so it was like, oh my god, she's good. But this is a performance. Like this I think is a very strong performance from her. And I do think Cynthia is good as well, but I was just so struck by
her Cynthia's no good deed rocked me, I will say. Even though once again Jon M did something that I didn't like in setting up the song, she bodied that number. Yeah. Her voice sounded
that one got applause.
So good.
Yeah.
Especially the guy sitting next to me at our screening.
Oh my god, yes.
you had a different person sitting next to you, which was also funny. God. But the guy sitting next to me, when Cynthia and Ariana both showed up on screen, led applause breaks. Like he was very into it.
He was the first person to applaud every time, and was like and was so fast with it. Oh,
very fast with it. But he also like clapped in a really funny way. I don't know if you could see it, but he would like reach his arms out and do like a walrus clap.
No, you had walrus clapping next to you, and then I had like a kid that wouldn't stay still. He wasn't like leaving his seat, which I felt like was very courteous of him
You
as
could tell
a
that he
seeming
wanted to,
probably
though.
6-year-old. Right. But I've never felt so much movement in a seat. Like, oh my God. He wasn't like stomping the ground, but it was like, he was like kicking I don't know how it was honestly perplexing what was going on next to me. I was like, I don't know how he's making the seat move like this, but my seat, it was like it was 40X. Like my seat was shaking
Maybe
like the
that would have been
whole
fun.
time.
Maybe the 40X Wicked experience is awesome, though. I don't know.
Maybe. But no, especially towards the end.
Oh
Oh my
yeah,
God.
when
he
it
would
gets
not
slow
sit
and the
still.
kids can't pay attention.
Oh my goodness, no. His mom kept like, especially when it got towards the end, she kept like, you need to sit, like you need to like you need to calm down. You need to Oh my God. I mean, yeah, she did eat that. And same with As Long as You're Mine was great. I thought again, so unfamiliar, did not know that they like fuck basically.
We had such different reactions to that scene because Andrew was like, I was surprised they went as far as they did, and I was like, they did not go far enough for that at all.
Like I just felt like, because I told you this after, my impression of Wicked, or at least more so with this one than the first one, is that these are movies that are marketed towards and targeted for children, like for young people. Like obviously Wicked has its audience and has had its audience for so long, but the way that they push the movies and the way that especially the first one was received, and I feel like with this one, just the vibe of it, these feel like movies that are, I mean, and they're rated PG. They made sure they were safe for kids to watch. So, I'm like, this is a movie that's targeted and like, for children. And so I'm not like a prude. Like, I don't care about that kind of shit. But in my head, I'm like, I thought I was watching a kids movie.
Yeah. And it's funny. I think we made this point afterwards as well. Like the first one is a movie that like you could take your kids to.
Right.
Where like you could go see this as a family, but you as like a couple, as adults, could go see it and not be out of place. This is not that as much,
No.
I would say.
No, this definitely feels like bring your kids.
Yeah.
Like bring the family, like bring the youngins, like that's what this is for. This is for the babies. This one feels like
this is the baby movie.
Let the babies come cry a little bit and and hug their mamas. That's what this movie's for. That's what this movie's for. But
none of the direction, cinematography, editing, none of that is fixed.
No, it's
in
not.
fact, it's maybe worse. Maybe worse.
The first one somehow, I honestly, I mean, I like the first one so much, but I'm a bit perplexed as to how it attracted so much prestige to it. Like it became like a huge awards contender and like I don't feel that with this movie at all.
I'm wondering how much of this movie is gonna miss in terms of award season. Actually,
I feel like I don't think we're going to see too much of Wicked at the Oscars outside of we were discussing probably, or for me, I'd say production design and costume design again.
I would give production design to a different movie though.
I wouldn't necessarily give the win to Wicked. Okay. I'm just saying as far as like nominations and just like where it would get recognized, and then maybe for Ariana. But outside of that, I truthfully don't know that I see much more. We'll see. I think a lot of the success that this one is going to try to have with awards is going to be based on how much people remember the first one, truthfully.
I think so too.
Like if the first one still sticks with people enough, then this one I think is going to do well. But because also I feel like the promotion for this movie hasn't been as strong as, not like it hasn't been as plentiful as the first one.
We had so many iconic press tour moments from the first one. And the only thing we have from this one is the Cynthia Erivo going backwards gif.
Right, with the hat. But I feel like more of the money this time went to like the events that they've been having, like the premieres and stuff.
The Wonderful Night.
Yeah, like all the money went towards that kind of shit. But so that's also what's leading me towards like Universal. Like I think there's gonna be a Wicked ride probably in the next like 2 years. Like that's why I'm like
Probably.
this just feels like a much different kind of movie that they're trying to push than the
You
first
just
one.
know they're shooting theme park stuff right now.
Yeah. That is kind of the feeling that I just had when I was watching this movie. It's just weaker. It's just not as heartwarming. I mean, obviously it's a lot sadder.
I did cry watching it, I will say.
You did, and I was very surprised because, mind you, you started out laughing.
I did.
Like,
well, that's,
when the movie started,
because
you were
this
like,
movie opens with a Marvel action sequence.
It does.
But here's the thing: that first little bit, I was like, okay, all right, what else you got?
Right.
Like, I was like, if you're gonna throw this at me,
Right.
I'm kind of on board.
Right. Like,
if you're just gonna be like, if you're like, okay, we're gonna do something totally different.
Right.
Then I was like, interesting. Let's see what you got. And then they went back to doing Wicked. They went back to doing the things that I don't like about how they adapt it.
Yeah, and you can also just tell that they filmed them at the same time. Like it genuinely just feels like the same. I wouldn't necessarily say that it feels any like bigger. You know, it's not like a typical sequel where it's like, you know, it's a bigger like like it just feels like kind of the same same vibe, same level of, you know, the action doesn't get any more extravagant than it did in the first one. Even though the production design and costume design work very well, it's not any more extravagant than it was in the first one. It's all on the same level as the first one, except for just the story beats. For real, I would land at probably about a 7 out of 10, 3.5 out of 5 on Wicked for Good. I was at a 4.5 or a 9 for the first one. So I've come down a little bit, but hopefully you've been able to synthesize why. What would you land on score wise?
You know what's interesting is that I think I actually gave this movie a higher rating than the first one.
I don't think you ever rated the first one.
Yes, and that's my point. I did rate this one at half a star, 1 out of 10. It is a worse movie that I was less mad at.
Okay.
And I think for like people who are big theater nerds like myself, it's going to hit the Broadway world message boards like The Rise of Skywalker. Because I think that people who liked the first one are not gonna like this one as much.
Yeah, I'm in that camp.
And I don't even know if people who like the second act are gonna like this movie that much.
Well, that's true. But okay, 1 out of 10.
1 out of 10. Not for me. You're like, if I also think that, like, to be honest, most people who are gonna go into this movie with a preconceived opinion,
right?
I genuinely, I think a lot of people just like are gonna go in like, if they liked the first one, they'll go in probably coming out liking this one, maybe not as much, but I think they'll still walk away liking it. And I think the people who walked into this one not liking the first one are going to walk away not liking this one.
yeah, that's what it is.
I will also say though, it's not my number one worst of the year.
I guess that's good.
Decidedly not. In fact,
yeah,
I've seen 3 other movies that I thought were worse this year.
It's not number 1. It's number 4.
It's number 4.
You know,
but there are worse films that I've seen than Wicked for Good.
Oh my goodness! That's something. That's something.
It's
something.
Progress.
Yes, that wraps up our discussion on Wicked for Good. And to kind of quickly wrap up the episode, usually I like to ask my guests if they have a movie that they would like to recommend, and if there's a movie that is coming out that they are looking forward to.
I have 2. I have both actually. I have one that I'm going to recommend and one that I'm looking forward to.
Okay, and they are.
The one that I'm going to recommend is called Sorry Baby.
Yes, Sorry Baby's great.
Ava Victor's directorial debut is so good.
Yes. It's been discussed on the podcast, on the Sundance episode, the most recent Sundance episode.
like, this is the easiest Best Actress win of all time, and A24 is doing nothing with it. Like,
Yeah, they're not doing anything with
there's
it.
not a better performance this year, period, than Ava Victor in this movie.
And the script is amazing. I'm more a fan of the script than anything
Mhm.
for that film. But
I would love to see it get a screenplay nomination. I'd love
yeah,
to see them
it
get into actress, but
yeah, it won the screenplay award at Sundance.
also great supporting performance from John Carroll Lynch.
Yeah, yeah, no, he's great too. Yeah, I mean, it's a very well performed movie. Naomi Ackie's great in it too.
Mhm.
But yeah, okay, Sorry Baby. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Sorry, baby. Great movie.
And your anticipation.
Ella McKay.
Yes, Ella McKay.
A movie that looks so good.
Uh-huh.
James L. Brooks, writer, director of Terms of Endearment, Broadcast News, As Good as It Gets, some of the greatest romantic comedies from the 80s and 90s, back after 15 years.
Uh-huh.
Looks incredible, looks like exactly what a perfect family, like Christmas time holiday movie should be. Desperately need this movie to do well at the box office because these kinds of movies don't make money anymore, and it's coming out
Yeah,
like the weekend before Avatar, which is going
it
to make
is.
all the money.
That is true.
So Ella McKay, please go see Ella McKay. I'm
Yes.
gonna go see Ella McKay. It looks
December 12th, I
phenomenal.
think.
Yes,
Yeah,
December
yeah,
12th.
no. Yeah, I'm a big broadcast news fan. So
One of the
I'm
great
excited for
films.
that. I am going to recommend a movie that I watched the other day that I had not heard about before, maybe like 2 weeks ago. It's called Something Wicked This Way Comes. um,
Ooh.
Obviously, not about, the wicked that we've been talking about, but it is an adaptation of the Ray Bradbury story that he wrote. He wrote the screenplay for the film. It's from 1983, and it's actually a Disney movie, which is very surprising considering how good and almost how like kind of scary it is. I can't remember exactly how it came on my radar, but like I said, it was very recently. It's like the perfect like fall, like spooky, like autumn vibe. Like it's set in October, and it's like narrated like it's like it was the first day of October, and da 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 da, and like the leaves were falling, and da 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 da, and there's pumpkins and all this shit, and it's about like this carnival comes to town, run by this guy named Mr. Dark. And it follows like these two kids that they're not related. They're like best friends, but they're twins. It's like these two boys, and one of them's like dad. But they're like kind of running around, and they're like seeing stuff that they shouldn't be seeing. And so then it's like them and Mr. Dark, and then their dad is like trying to help them, but it's ultimately a story about that father-son relationship, because like the other friend, like his dad isn't there. It's emotional, it's spooky, it looks great. And I was reading about it. It came out in a time where whoever was running Disney was only running it. It was like they were there for a short amount of time, but it was like a phase where they were doing a lot more experimental stuff.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of how this one was able to eke in there.
It's pre Eisner,
Um,
right? It's like 83.
yeah, it's 83. Yeah. But yeah, it's like Jonathan Pryce is Mr. Dark. It was just a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it a lot more than I expected to. It felt like Nightmare Alley just for kids.
Mhm.
And I am a big Nightmare Alley fan, particularly the GDT version from a few years ago. But yeah, that's my recommendation. Something Wicked This Way Comes. It's on Disney Plus. And my anticipation, not to cheat, but I am very excited for Ella McKay. I actually that probably of everything that's coming out in the next few weeks that I have not seen is probably what I'm looking forward to the most. I'm just a big broadcast news fan, and so. Everything about the vibe of it, the cast, the James L. Brooks of it all, it just seems like something that I'm gonna enjoy a lot. And I also Al Brooks is great as well. I'm glad to see that he's back in a James L. Brooks movie, so I'm excited for that reason. I'm also a big Sex Education fan, and so glad to see Emma Mackey running shit. But yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to. We are now at the end of this episode. This was so much fun.
Yes, I had a great time. I always have a great time shooting the shit, talking movies with you, Andrew.
Thank you for joining. Next episode, I'm going to be doing a whole rundown of a whole list of movies that we're going to be talking about for the next few months. So stay tuned for that roundup. If you want to keep up with me and the podcast, you can follow me on Instagram at OTR with Andrew. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at the OTR Andrew Pod. You can follow me on Letterboxd at AndyMike1209. That's ANDYMIKE1209. And J-May, do you want to plug anything?
I'll plug my Letterboxd, JMay658, JMAY658. That's the only thing that you should ever follow me on.
Well, shout out to that. Go follow them on Letterboxd. Yeah, that's it. Bye.
Bye.